What's good, YouTube? It's your boy, Blue Blood Sports TV, back at y'all with another one. So, interesting topic. As undefeated 3-division world champion, former junior welterweight undisputed world champion, currently the reigning WBO, World Boxing Organization welterweight world champion, who is widely considered by many to be the #1 best pound-for-pound fighter in the world, Terence Bud Crawford. Terence Crawford is 38 wins, no losses, no draws. Terence Crawford is 34 years of age, 29 wins by way of knockout. He is 5'8" with a 74-inch arm reach. With that said, Terence Crawford makes up for 50% of the biggest fight in the sport of boxing. Himself an undefeated unified WBC, IBF welterweight world champion superstar boxer, Errol the True Spence Jr. is widely considered by many to be top 3 best pound-for-pound fighters in the world. 27 wins, no losses, no draw. 21 big wins by way of knockout. 31 years of age, 5'9.5" with a 72-inch arm reach. With that said, Errol Spence is expected to go into a highly anticipated unification showdown with WBA welterweight world champion Cuban star boxer UGAS, who's 27 wins, 4 losses, no draw. 12 wins by way of knockout, 35 years of age, 5'9" with a 69-inch arm reach. Okay, UGAS, Errol Spence supposed to square off April 16th. Arlington, Texas, AT&T, Dallas Cowboy Stadium, better known as Jerry's World. With that said, Terence Crawford, he admitted that the reason that the fight, most highly anticipated, biggest fight in the sport of boxing between himself and Errol Spence Jr. hasn't come to fruition is simply because of the powers that be. Okay, there's too many people that are looking to prevent this fight from happening because of the politics behind the scenes. So Terence Crawford, he admits that Errol Spence, he wants this fight just as much as Terence Crawford wants to fight. He's just as passionate about making a fight just as much as he is. Okay, this is in a recent interview Terence Crawford did. Now, we know Terence Crawford is a network promotional free agent. Okay, we know Terence Crawford after his last fight with 2-time welterweight world champion superstar boxer Showtime Sean Porter, November 20th. Terence Crawford beat Sean Porter in a manner nobody has ever beaten him, dropping him twice in the 10th round, ultimately forcing Sean Porter's father, trainer, and manager, Kenny Porter, waving a white towel because he saw enough. But the most interesting part about the night after that part was the fact that Terence Crawford had decided to part ways with longtime promoter, legendary promoter, top-ranked CEO and promoter Bob Arum, top-ranked in ESPN. Now Terence Crawford is a network promotional free agent. Okay, Terence Crawford is not he's not conformed and and he's not locked down with one promotional company and one promoter. He can move around as he so chooses, okay? So he's not confined to one promotional company, one network. And so now Terence Crawford, he can essentially fight where he so chooses, okay? Terence Crawford, after that, he decided that he was going to take Bob Arum, top rank, to court, citing that they have not lived up to what they stated that they were going to do. They have not, promoted him as they said. They didn't keep up their end of the bargain. They were supposed to, after the Egas-Kavaliauskas fight, they were supposed to give Terence Crawford negotiation, the opportunity to fight Errol Spence, and they didn't choose to do that. So Terence Crawford is taking him to court, and he's suing them for $10 million, okay? With that said, we know that to take place. Now, most recently, Terence Crawford, he did an interview as he's part of the team and help training multi-division world champion British superstar boxer Amir Khan for his massive all-United Kingdom showdown with Kell Brook. 2 former foes of Terence Crawford, okay? So with that said, he was asked during interviews, what about the Errol Spence fight? He stated that Errol Spence wants this fight just as much as he wants the fight. He's just as passionate about the fight just as much as he's passionate about making the fight happen. And he said that the division between the 2 fan bases, the division between the 2 teams is not a good thing. And everybody should be on the same page. They should be working there, coming together for the biggest fight in the sport of boxing. And he don't agree with the African-American fighters, the black boxers, not being on the same page, not being able to support one another, and that he and Errol Spence should be both supported, okay? there shouldn't be a division. He stated that when there's a division, your team goes against my team going against yours, etc. Well, Terence Crawford just stated these comments, made these comments this past weekend. And now his team has come out and stated that they know and they're aware that Errol Spence is going to fight former unified welterweight world champion, superstar boxer Keith one-time Thurman, who just made his ring return after a 2.5-year layoff after suffering the only loss in his career. That being Keith Thurman is now 30 wins, no losses. 30 wins, 1 loss, no draws. 22 big wins by way of knockout. Keith Thurman is 33 years of age, 5'7" with a 69-inch arm reach. Keith Thurman, he lost to legendary 8-division iconic Filipino superstar world champion boxer Manny Pac-Man Pacquiao, July of 2019. So July of 2019, Manny Pacquiao beat Keith Thurman via split decision, okay? Majority decision, split decision, whichever, okay? And Keith Thurman went on a hiatus. So this fight, Keith Thurman came back February 5th against former WBA junior welterweight Mexican world champions star boxer Mario Barrios. Mario Barrios made his debut at the welterweight division. And then the WBC, World Boxing Council, decided that they wanted to put their print on this fight, and they decided to make this fight title eliminator, okay? They decided that they wanted this fight to be a title eliminator, and that, you know, the winner is going to be pushed up in the ranking system and in position to win, to fight the winner of Errol Spence versus UGAS UGAS fight, okay? Keith Thurman was surprised it happened. Mario Barrios was surprised, but not the boxing world, because anything goes in the sport of boxing, especially when you're dealing with the sanction bodies, okay? So Keith Thurman, he then initially he stated he was willing to fight Terence Crawford in July, okay? But now Keith Thurman stated he's focused on gaining the World Boxing Council, the WBC belt, taking that route, okay, moving up in their ranking system. And immediately Keith Thurman was placed. Now initially the rankings in the welterweight for the WBC was it was at number 1 Virgil Ortiz Jr., number 2 it was and number 2 in the WBC rankings, I believe number 1 is Virgil Ortiz, number 2 is David Avanesian, number 3 was Jerron Boots Ennis, and number 4 was Danny Garcia. Well, now they have rearranged the ranking system, and now they have Virgil Ortiz at 1, David Avanesian at 2, Keith Thurman at 3, and Jerron Ennis. They moved him back to number 4. So they bumped him back in the ranking system. And so now Team Crawford is stating that they are aware and they have confirmation and information that Keith Thurman is going to be the next opponent for Errol Spence Jr., okay? And now they're saying to boycott Errol Spence Jr. fight with UGAS UGAS because they're going to go the route of fighting Keith Thurman opposed to fighting them in the most highly anticipated showdown, okay? And they saying that Errol Spence is avoiding the fight with Terence Crawford. He's scared to fight Terence Crawford. He don't want to make the fight happen, and to boycott his fight with UGAS UGAS. Well, this is what Terence Crawford just spoke up against in his interview. This is what he just spoke about against in his interview, that we shouldn't have any division. And yet here we know Errol Spence has no interest, no qualm of fighting Keith Thurman. Zero, okay? He's made that abundantly clear on numerous occasions that he has zero interest in fighting Keith Thurman. He stated that since Keith Thurman gave him the runaround, never gave him the opportunity to fight for the world title or unify the belts, he felt like Keith Thurman is not a true individual. He stated that he believes he fakes it, and if it came down to Keith Thurman. Now Errol Spence has made it abundantly clear in most recent interview that he wants to secure the W against UGAS UGAS and pick up the WBA strap, and then he wants to come after Terence Crawford's WBO strap. Errol Spence has just stated this 2 days ago, okay, that his plan is to go after those 2 belts and then move up to junior middleweight 154. He has no more interest in competing against nobody else other than the world champions, UGAS UGAS and Terence Crawford. Then he's moving up to junior middleweight. And if it came down to him having to fight Keith Thurman for the opportunity to become undisputed, which is his childhood goal, then he would vacate the belts. This is how much he doesn't like Keith Thurman. that he would vacate the belts and just move up. Okay, he has no interest in fighting Keith Thurman, and yet now Team Crawford is coming out and saying they have confirmation that Keith Thurman is the next opponent for Errol Spence. They're guaranteeing he's going to fight Keith Thurman next, and that, you know, they're going to boycott. Now Team Crawford is asking the fans to boycott Errol Spence's fight with YORDENIS UGAS. This is the division that Terence Crawford just spoke about, okay? That he said that shouldn't be there. He just stated that there shouldn't be no division, that both teams need to come together, both fans base need to come together. Why can't the African American or black boxers have unity, okay, like everybody else? And that he stated that your fans go against my fans, then my team goes against your team, and it shouldn't be that way. Well, here's your team once again. Team Spence is not coming out and saying anything, and we know that Errol Spence has no interest in fighting Keith Thurman, regardless of what the WBC has stated, and the WBC has not even made him the mandatory challenger. So it will be choice for Errol Spence to fight Keith Thurman. Okay, and Errol Spence has made it abundantly clear just less than 48 hours ago he only has interest in fighting Terence Crawford after this fight with YORDENIS UGAS. And yet it's Team Crawford once again providing division by saying boycott Errol Spence's fight with YORDENIS UGAS. That's not showing unity. Instead saying, let's see what happens after Errol Spence fights YORDENIS UGAS. Okay, YORDENIS UGAS just came out and stated that he had a conversation with Errol Spence, and they have a pact that the winner is going to fight Terence Crawford. Okay, so why would Team Crawford come out and state and make these statements saying to boycott Errol Spence's fight with YORDENIS UGAS when that goes against everything Terence Crawford just stated, that they should have unity and not division? So let's see how this unfolds and plays out. April 16th, Errol Spence versus YORDENIS UGAS. Then we have to see what the aftermath is. But that's all I got for y'all. Make sure you hit the like button. Drop a comment in the comment section. Let me know what y'all think. Y'all already know what it is. It's your boy Blue, Blue Blood Sports TV. Hate, like, comment, and subscribe. You haven't subscribed, hit the subscribe button, hit the like button, hit the bell icon to get all the new notifications. Follow me on Instagram at Blue Blood Sports TV, all one word. Y'all already know what it is. Shout out to the entire LDBC. Shout out to New Media. Shout out to Black Media Row. Make sure you like and share these videos. That's all I got for y'all. Peace.